How many bananas did you use?
None, because this is sweet potato.
Oh.
Today we are making sweet potato pancakes. If you can hear background noise, by the way, that's just Billy in the shower, so it'll be over soon. So we're making these sweet potato pancakes. This is something that I found out about, I don't know, maybe a few months back, that people were using cooked sweet potatoes and making pancakes out of them so that you can still have pancakes, but they're healthier and obviously they have less sugar, which is always nice. So I was looking into sweet potato pancake recipes, and a lot of them called for using the blender. For me, in the morning, I don't really want to be like busting out the blender and getting all that stuff dirty and then having to do all those extra dishes. I just feel like that's unnecessary equipment, especially if we're talking about making pancakes. So this recipe, if you can see, I put a little smiley face. It's a no blender recipe. Now they did trick me because although they don't tell you to use the blender, they say to use sweet potato puree. However, this sweet potato that I cooked, which you can see in my sweet potato video, came out very soft, and I think we can mash it with a fork. So that's what we're gonna try to do today, and then you guys will be able to see before you have to experiment if that works. So give this video a thumbs up if you're interested, and let's get started. So the one thing I forgot to prep for this video is our mixing bowls. We're gonna need 2 mixing bowls, which again, you see, that's a lot of equipment for the morning, so we don't need to throw a blender in there too. But anyway, let me grab my bowls. So if you were with me for my Irish soda bread video, I explained there that I do have a lot of mixing bowls, but none of them are clear. I have plastic and I have stainless steel. So for the purposes of my videos, we're gonna use these Rubbermaid containers. Obviously, if you have real mixing bowls, don't use containers like this. But I'm doing this so that you can see what I'm doing. So for the first step, we want to mix our sweet potato puree, our eggs, coconut oil, milk, and apple cider vinegar. And now they call for almond milk. I think that's because they're trying to make this like a really healthy recipe, and people think that almond milk is healthier for you than regular milk. I disagree. I used to drink almond milk, and then I realized that the only reason I liked it was because there was sugar in it. When you drink almond milk that doesn't have sugar, it tastes like soapy water. It's disgusting. So I am lactose intolerant, so that's why we buy the Fairlife milk. Oh, that sounds like an ad. This isn't an ad. I just wanted you to know. That's why I'm using this, and that's why I like it, but this is not an ad. Anyway, we're mixing milk and apple cider vinegar, and we talked about this in the Irish soda bread video, but that is how you make buttermilk. Usually recipes wouldn't say to use milk with apple cider vinegar. They would tell you to use milk and white vinegar. So I think this is maybe just either to make it healthier or to maybe give it a different flavor. I don't know. But we do have apple cider vinegar. It has the mother, which makes me think of Norman Bates. Hopefully that doesn't make the texture or the taste weird. I thought we also had apple cider vinegar without the mother, and we used that up. So we are using this stuff. I hope it doesn't matter, but you know, we'll find out together. So to puree my sweet potatoes, I'm just gonna mash them up with a fork. I also wanted to mention, I cooked these sweet potatoes knowing that I might get more food basically than I might need for the pancake recipe. So I did cook it with the skin on. That looks really unappetizing. but just stay with me. I cooked it with the skin on because, you know, they say that the skin has the most nutrients, so I didn't want to peel that all off and waste it. I don't know, maybe that's a little weird, but I figured I would save that. It peels right off when the sweet potato is cooked, so I'm saving it. I've got this big bowl of mush. I'll probably make more pancakes with this or something, I don't know, but don't feel like you have to peel the sweet potato before you cook it if you want to eat the skin. Because if you want to make this recipe, the skin will come right off. You can eat it separately or throw it out, whatever. Do whatever you want, but you don't have to peel the potato first. So we're gonna give this a quick mash. This sweet potato is so soft. I just feel like there's no way you need to use a blender to mash this up. It's about the consistency of pumpkin puree if you buy that in the can. So I think that we are completely fine just using a fork. So next we're gonna add in our eggs. And as a side note, if you write recipes or create recipes and you're out there and you're writing things like add 2 large eggs, could you just stop saying that? Tell us if we need a 3rd egg, because they all come in the same size when you buy them. And I don't know if these are large or not. I mean, as far as a chicken's egg, I think this is pretty standard size. So just, you know, be more clear. Do we need a 3rd egg, or is it fine with 2? Stop saying large eggs. That's my PSA for today. As always, we're gonna crack the eggs in a separate bowl in case I get any shells, and I have a little paper towel here to soak up any goo that might come out. And we got a shell. Next we want to add in coconut oil, which is so much fun to measure because it's solid and oily and it sticks to everything. This might be a little bit more than they said. Ooh. Well, that went flying. This is good enough for me. So now if you were using almond milk, this is where you would add that. We're gonna add our regular cow's milk. Dead soldier. Shake it up. I don't even know if you're supposed to shake this, but I always do. And I always like to put everything in the sink once I finish using it, or like I'll put the ingredients away after I measure them just to make it easier to clean up and also like to make the space less messy and overwhelming. All right, now for the fun part, we are going to do our apple cider vinegar. It actually says to shake gently before using. I don't know how to shake gently, but I guess we'll do that. And the stuff stinks, by the way. Let's give you guys a close-up of what this looks like. All right, and let's mix this. Coconut oil is really difficult to mix when it's in its solid state, but we're gonna do our best. I really thought it would be more orange, and instead it's like a pukey pastel orange. I would really like to know why this recipe calls for coconut oil directly in it. I guess it's a binding agent. I don't know. I really hate mixing coconut oil. Even if you melt it first, what I found is that it solidifies so quickly that you have to move really fast, which, as you all know, I'm not capable of doing. So it's just tricky working with coconut oil. And I think I would prefer butter, but I know it's not as healthy. All right, I think that's mixed up as much as it's going to be. All right, so for mixing bowl number 2, we will be combining our baking powder, flour, and cinnamon. And I also want to mention that this recipe calls for oat flour, which sounds fancy and expensive, and they probably sell it at Whole Foods for a lot of money. We don't buy that. I don't know if oat flour is the same thing as if you just blended up oatmeal, because if it is, then I would do that, but I'm really not sure. If you know what oat flour is, tell me in the comments. But for now, we're just gonna stick with regular all-purpose flour because I want to try this recipe and see how tasty it is. I was thinking of trying it with whole wheat flour because I have it, but I know that whole wheat just is not going to taste as good as regular flour, so I didn't want to do anything that would alter the flavor of this on the first time that we're trying the recipe. If it's like so tasty, like if it's really, really tasty to the point where it's like, okay, we could come down a few degrees of tastiness, then in the future when I make it again, I'll probably do it with the whole wheat flour just to make it even healthier. But for today's purposes, we're just gonna use good old all-purpose flour that you can get really cheap. Baking powder. Wait, right? Baking powder? Baking powder. I always like triple check that I have the right measurements, which I do. It's weird to me that they tell you to put the baking powder in first because I feel like usually recipes say to put the flour first. I don't think it matters, but we're doing everything exactly, almost very closely to what they're saying. We did swap out a couple ingredients, but other than that, we're following everything to the T. Or is it to the letter? I can never remember. And we're ready to refill the container. Well, if you can make this recipe without getting flour all over your kitchen, then you are a much better person than I am. Baking powder, flour, and cinnamon. I'm excited. This is gonna be good. I love cinnamon in breakfast foods. Like, my mom would make French toast and put cinnamon, and it was so good. So I recently learned that chefs in restaurants, as they're cooking, they'll just like throw everything onto the floor, like food scraps and like mess and stuff for someone else to come sweep up, and I wish I could do that. That's gonna grab a second fork, and we're gonna just mix this all together. And see, this is why I always put my recipes in sheet protectors. All right, things are getting exciting now. We have mixed up the dry ingredients, and we mixed up the wet ingredients, and now we mix them together. Ooh. I was supposed to use this up. There's a little bit of this old cinnamon left. Don't tell anyone. So now we're gonna combine the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients, and then we're ready to start cooking. So I think we will pour the dry into the wet. I think that would be the easiest way to do this. All right, slowly stir this till everything is combined. I wonder what else you could do with this batter. Oopsie. This is why I can't talk while I'm doing things. But anyway, since I already made a mess, let me keep on going. I'm curious if you can use this batter or something very close to it and like pour it into a muffin tin and bake it, because that would probably be really good too. Well, I don't know why I'm saying that. I don't even know if this is good yet. This is definitely clumpy and lumpy, and it's looking a little bit gray, if you can tell. I think that's from the cinnamon. Always want to make sure when you're mixing that you like stir up from the bottom, because that's where you find the dry ingredients that didn't get combined. Really, I'm a little bit nervous that this coconut oil is not incorporating nicely. I don't want like certain pancakes to be like greasy and like heavy, and then have the rest of them be a different consistency. So I think maybe if I make this again, I would like melt the coconut oil and maybe not add it in until this step when we're just getting ready to cook, so that it would stay in a melted form, and also if it did start to solidify, at least it would have been evenly distributed. All right, I'm gonna clean up this loose flour, and then we're gonna start cooking. So I will see you guys at the stove. Okay, so I've got some coconut oil just warming up to lubricate the pan. This is, by the way, why I hate cooking with coconut oil, because it's so tricky to get out of the jar that I always end up either getting way too much or not enough. In this case, we got way too much, but we're not gonna complain. We're gonna be positive. So this is melting nicely. I think our pan is nice and warm. We've got it over a medium-high flame if I didn't mention that. So we're gonna start cooking our pancakes. And I am going to just measure with a little 1/4 cup. That's how much they said to use. So we're gonna try it. Ooh, this is very thick batter. We're gonna just dump it in. Wow, look how thick this is. It's like hardly moving. I feel like I'm gonna have to like squish it down. Let's see. This is a very thick batter. We might be here all day. All right, let's see. Let's try to get another pancake in since it's not that big. This is absolutely a weekend breakfast recipe because there is no way anyone has time to be doing this on a weekday. The recipe said it would need roughly 2 to 3 minutes per side, or like most pancakes until it starts bubbling on the top. But we will see. 2 to 3 minutes sounds nice and quick to me, so hopefully she's right. I'm tempted to like push these towards the center, but I don't want to mess anything up. By the way, these smell amazing so far. I do smell a lot of the coconut oil, but I also smell the cinnamon and like a slight hint of that sweet potato smell. I'm a little worried. These are so thick. I'm not sure how they're gonna cook all the way through. I can see it's cooking from the bottom up. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. And I feel like I'm frying these because there's so much oil in the pan, which is not really what I wanted, but we know that the oil will start to disappear as I continue cooking, so hopefully I can get it to the right level. I don't want the bottoms to overcook, so I think I'm gonna flip these now. Oopsie. Hello. I don't want you stuck to your brother. See if I can flip this one without disturbing. Nope. Alright. I think we might have done this right, guys. It looks like they're gonna cook correctly. I'm very pleased with myself. If you saw my banana pancake video, then you know that I struggle with cooking pancakes. And I think we're making some baby steps towards a better future with better pancakes. Alright, I think these guys are ready to come off. Look at that. So I'm gonna cook up the rest of the pancakes, and then I will see you guys again for the taste test. Guys, look at these finished pancakes. I'm pretty proud of them. I mean, we had a couple of uglies come out because I still haven't mastered the art of the pancake, but overall, I think these look really nice. We are back! I made all the pancakes. Billy's here to taste them. Billy, what do you think of the smell and the presentation? And remember that plating is a separate skill.
They look good.
Yeah.
They're puffy.
Yes.
They smell like pancakes, but not quite.
The smell reminds me of like those sweet potatoes people make for Thanksgiving, kind of like candied, I guess.
Oh, interesting.
I think because of the sweet potato being mixed with cinnamon.
Take a bite plain first.
No syrup?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this didn't cook all the way. That's fine.
Well, I think syrup. Very cinnamony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one's a little raw on the inside. They were so thick. The consistency, I figured out how to describe it if you guys couldn't tell from looking at it. This was the consistency of that natural peanut butter that like separates in the jar. That's what the batter consistency was like. So I think maybe the recipe should have had more, I don't know, like more buttermilk or more water. It was just very thick.
They don't taste like potato. They taste like pancakes.
I was thinking the opposite.
Well, this recipe seems to use a lot of cinnamon. I can taste it and I don't really like that. It's like, it's too spicy. If you add like more than a dash of cinnamon to something, it goes from like having a nice aroma and flavor to being like heat almost.
I didn't think they were that cinnamony.
I also like my pancakes really thin. I know that's not what most people like, but I like to make like the batter really watery so they can get thin.
Let me show you guys this bite. I don't think these cooked 100%. I don't know. They're a little like mushy on the inside.
What is the basis of this, that it's healthier?
Yeah.
Is it a lot of work?
Couldn't do it in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, we have a big ass bag of pancake mix from like Costco, so that's like...
That's full of sugar though. I would say...
So is syrup.
If you want a healthy breakfast, I'd rather just have eggs. It's easier.
Oh yeah. Anything with the word cake in it isn't really going to be healthy, especially... I mean, I don't want...
No, this is healthy.
Yeah,
There's nothing unhealthy in this except the flour.
Well, the syrup, I don't want to eat this without syrup. It tastes kind of weird. I wouldn't eat a pancake without syrup either. You know, some people just put butter on it. I couldn't do that.
All right, so pass, fail.
Pass. It's better than the banana pancakes.
Really?
Yeah.
You liked those the first time you had them.
Yeah, I think I don't like the maple syrup in them.
He's very particular. I don't hate these. I just think they were a bitch to make, and I'm not doing this during breakfast hours. It's really like almost 6 p.m. right now.
Well, you could do what you did and make like a batch and then heat them up, I guess.
Well, yeah, we will probably do that because I got a lot.
How many bananas did you use?
None, because this is sweet potato.
Oh, that's right. I meant sweet potatoes.
Less than one.
Less than one? Mm-hmm. Oh, and you have to like boil it and make it soft or Instapot it?
You have to cook it.
You have to cook it and mash it. Yeah, it's a lot of work for breakfast.
But I think these taste really good.
Yeah, I like them.
I think they're really tasty. I just had trouble getting an even cook. And to be fair, I'm bad at making pancakes. I don't know how to cook them. So it might be me. But I still think, and this is not just me, this batter was very thick. Really, really thick. But it tastes good. So if you make this recipe, let me know how it goes for you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tasting. And I will see you in the next. Billy is on helping number 2. And what did you say to me before, Billy? You said, can I have more?
Mm-hmm. Can I have more?
Of course you can. Now tell our viewers at home what you discovered.
Oh, what, that some of them were undercooked?
Yeah.
And gooey?
Yep, we got goo, everybody.
I think you made them too thick and it didn't allow the pan to.
Well, see, the funny thing is, I didn't make them too thick.
Well,
the recipe author made them too thick.